Hey guys, Cold here. Welcome back to another Raid Shadow Legends video. It seems that the rumors were true. Alright, I was getting messages about a guaranteed ancient shard event happening during this weekend, and the rumors are true. It's gonna be Stealthus from the Bannerlords, the newer champion, the one that has killed Draco, will be coming into the game. We've got an announcement for a 10x event. Also, I'll cover those champions in a bit. And I just want to say that it's kind of a bad move with Clarion repeatedly doing these 10 not 10x events, these ancient shard events all the time, and depleting us from our resources without any real reward. These are not champions that seem to be out of the ordinary, those that are game changing, game breaking, as you want to call them. So it's bringing like a bad, it's leaving like a bad taste in the mouth. Like you go to a bad restaurant and you kind of regret it at the end. The bill comes and you're like, damn it, I should have just stayed at home, cooked something quick, and didn't spend my money at this place. And then that's what it's leaving the players with, like spending their money on the game for bad rewards or not giving us what we're looking for. I understand that the company is facing lots of issues right now with the Ukraine war and everything, but as a player, I'm seeing things from my point of view. All right, our point of view is that the game is just releasing these bad events, trying to deplete our resources and not really giving us much. That being said, if you want to get Stealthus, it's all up to you. It's 150 ancient shards to pick up this legendary. It could have done it for 120. They've done those before, and I believe they've done one for Vizier for even less than, I think, 114 or something, like an odd number it was. So they could have done this for much lower than that, which compared to like 110 ancients to 150, that's 40 less ancients, which is a good amount of ancients to save up. The difference there. So Stealthus, is he good? He's a defensive based nuker, but he's force affinity. So force affinity nukers have it a little bit bad, especially because of how things work with all the spirit defense champions in the game. So those spirit defense champions already have that chance to get a weak hit instead of a normal hit on them, and the force nukers are not chosen before, let's say, any spirit nukers or magic nukers or void nukers in the game. That being said, is he good? He's got a nice A3 skill, which places an increased defense buff on him and then attacks all enemies. So that attack can be good since he is buffing himself, so you don't need to have something like a CP there to do this. And he also has a chance to place a decreased critical damage debuff and a decreased speed debuff on enemies depending on conditional facts right there. He does need books. His A2 does have a chance to stun, and it's not as good as other champions since it's not 100%, but it's a double hitting attack with the stun included in there. And he's got an A1 also, when if a target is under any debuff, each hit decreases the turn meter by 10%, which is very low in comparison to other champions in the game. He also has a passive where whenever an enemy attempts to place a weakened debuff, a decreased defense debuff, or a poison, he reflects them back on the attacker. This is very unique, although I don't see it being used very specifically for any other reason than just, you know, very, very specific content. I don't see him being out of the ordinary. So let's go over to the 10x champions. By the way, another guarantee that they said is that we might have a Lil as a guaranteed champion from Voids next week or the week after that. That was the leak I heard. I heard also Stealthus, but I wasn't sure about it. So it was those two champions included in the leak. Maybe it was a Lil as a 10x champion. But that being said, a Lil will be offered during the 10x for this weekend. Is he good? No, we covered it in our videos. He is better on paper than on actual trying him out and playing him. Not so much worth it as he could have been, especially because he does have this ignore stone skin skill. This could have been much better. He could have been much higher multiplier, and especially this A3 skill with it, it shows a lot of potential because he's a cannot be resisted champion where he can place the alternative of the buff. So an increased defense, he places a decreased defense on the enemy, and he does that also with strengthen and weaken. The reason that we found this not good is that if the enemies have a block debuffs buff and those buffs on, the enemies will not get the inverse buff on them. They'll just get the increased defense or the strengthen removed, and that's pretty much it. And it kind of sucks in the way that this does, and his multiplier is not that high. So for a Void champion, he wasn't as good. He was pretty much used there as a buff remover, and that was pretty much it. That was pretty much it. Next up, we've got Elva being offered during this 10x. So it's more about Sylvan Watchers, and if you want to get these, but this should have been during a 2x plus 10x to get these champions. I don't think anybody will be pulling just to get them. There's no need, especially if you have Lydia already. You don't see the need to pick up, 5 strong Sylvan Watchers already. So Elva has a continuous heal on the A1 for the lowest HP ally. Got a cleanse on the A2 with the block debuffs and an increased speed buff. This is very nice on a 3-turn cooldown. Very nice, I would say. A more use for clan boss setups, I would think. And it revives the target ally with 40% HP, 50% turn meter, and an increased defense, increased attack buff. And then a nice passive where she heals each ally by 10% of their max HP at the start of their turn, which is very, very solid as a heal. Plus a perfect veil on the ally with the lowest HP at the end of this champion's turn. So perfect veil can be nice, but it can be tricky if you're using that with stun targeting for clan boss. Then we got King Galkobar, and this one is all right. He's got a shield on the A1. He's got a poison, a removal of all buffs, and then a poison on each enemy for every buff removed. So this can be big, or it can be basically 0. It depends on the number of buffs. The A3 is a cleanse plus continuous heal buff and a big shield on all your allies with a 3-turn cooldown. He's solid. He's alright. Whenever an enemy under poison debuff attacks an ally under a shield buff, instantly activates 1 poison. This can be useful, but I don't see so much use out of it, especially because he needs to have poisons already from another champion, because he himself cannot apply them unless there's a buff on. So that makes him a little bit weird on how the poisons are activated, because this guy doesn't look that much, and you can't really use poisons anymore, I would say, in arena, since the poisons don't really do the exact amount of damage that they state, I think, in PvP, even with a blessing on. Then we've got Green Water Ruark offered during the 10x. I think it's all of them, and the rest of the epics are offered. So Ruark will also be offered right there. Transfers all debuffs to the A1. A2 is a decreased attack AoE plus a continuous heal, which can be stolen from each enemy. This effect cannot be resisted. That is very weird. And then the taunt, increased defense, and a strengthen with a 4-turn cooldown. We saw that taunt is not that great because of the way it works. It's worse than provoke. And especially against targets that can do AoE damage dealing skills. Whenever an ally loses 10% or more of their max HP from a single hit, plays a shield buff. This is alright, but this is very circumstantial, and it really depends on the ally's health, because the 10% shield is not that much, and cannot really protect against double hitting or triple hitting attacks in many situations. So these are good that are offered during the 10x, but again, not so excited about it. We've got also Cormac, Daithi, and Ruella. So the rest of the champions that weren't offered before are now going to be offered. So quickly going over, Cormac's got a decreased speed, a decreased defense on a single target on the A2, and an A3 with an increased accuracy and increased critical rate, plus an extra turn. Not so special. I wouldn't be surprised if nobody really cares for these epics. I got Duodan the epic, by the way. He was offered through a guaranteed. We've got Daithi. This one is a little bit better because he can remove a random buff. He's got an A2 which attacks all enemies, plays a decreased defense, and grants an extra turn if somebody's killed. And he also has this, which also grants an extra turn. So he can actually go a little bit crazy with extra turns, especially with the Relentless set. It could be fun to have a look at that, but I don't think he's really worth it as a force attack epic. And then finally, we've got Ruella, who is the most promising out of these epics, I would say. And I've seen some showcases where she steals the turn meter. She's got an A2 with a decreased defense, weaken, and decreased speed debuff for 2 turns with a high chance to apply these. And fills the turn meter of all allies plus an increased critical rate buff on a very solid 3-turn cooldown with a 2-turn duration. So overall, very strong epic. If you ever get this on accident or on purpose, so let's say you're summoning during this 10x, then yeah, this will be definitely useful. So these are the news. I'm not that happy, as I said. I would more like to see some kind of other events, like a guaranteed sacred. It's one we've been waiting for so long, but it's all up to Plarium, really, if we ever gonna get that. So thanks guys for watching, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. See ya.